Might be a little early yet. Oh, I'm a little early. I will stop recording just for a moment. Hey, everybody. I'll give a few more minutes for everybody to get here, and then we'll start again. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for coming. My name is Dr. Merle Massie. I am with the Office of the Vice President Research. So my job on campus is as the coordinator for undergraduate research initiatives on campus. And with that, let's start with our, assuming that I can make it go, there we go. As a settler Canadian of Scottish, Irish, Norwegian, Swedish, and Ukrainian tradition, I am filled with gratitude to live within Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. I give respect to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place and continually value our interconnectedness through Wakutulu. I too love this land of vast skies and tall trees, Saskatoons and blueberries, and the swift and slow waters of the Saskatchewan River. As you can see, this is not the normal one. The normal one's on top. But I got to work with the Wenham Center to kind of showcase my connection to the land and the place. So if ever you get a chance to do that, the Wenham Center does offer that. It's an afternoon program. So if you're interested in creating your own land acknowledgement, that's something that you can do. All right. So I know that you guys are all working this summer as undergraduate students with various labs or other research spaces across campus. And so that's why we started this particular program. So SURE stands for Student Undergraduate Research Experience. And I keep going back and forth to do this. So previous summer students, I think I'm going to minimize that so that we don't see it so much. Previous students who had summer research experiences, we gave them surveys and said, you know, what more can we do at the university to give you guys a better experience? And across the board, they said additional training and support in building research skills, particularly for those of us, if it's your first summer of doing research. Come on in. It's kind of a, it can be a bit scary. And the second is connection to other student research. So ways to connect you guys with each other so you get a chance to meet each other. And so then we also supervise or we surveyed past undergraduate faculty, such as Dr. John Howland and Dr. Soteros and various others. And we designed the SURE program using their feedback. So for the most part, now there's still lots of faculty on campus who don't know about this program, but if you're here, chances are because your faculty knows about this program and sends you here. So that's a good thing. It started as a pilot program. It was supposed to be in person, but then the pandemic hit, so then we moved entirely online in May of 2020, and the whole program has been online all the way. So now we have to figure out how to do the hybrid and come back in person. So if we're a little bit rocky, I apologize for that. The first summer, there were about 300 USask students who were hired across campus, just like you guys, to have, you know, to work in labs and research places. And they were signed up by the college or their department. And most of you might have been done that way. If any of you want an answer to USRA, you're automatically enrolled. If any of you are Western College of Veterinary Medicine, or if you are in the College of Medicine in general, those tend to be just enrolled on. Others, you might have signed up yourself. So that's how we do it now. But we've been online during the pandemic, moving hybrid this summer. So one of the reasons why we set it up is that it's to allow a space for you guys to focus on your research skills. And it'll become, it's a co-curricular record. So it's a place to practice, so train and practice on skill development. So it's on your co-curricular record. So, you know, when you guys go to do up your resume, yes, you can put your summer research experience as a job, but you can also key it on there underneath your skill development, because it does ask you to do a certain amount of hours and think very specifically around the research skills that you're learning and the research skills that you might need in order to have as good a summer as you can. So the other thing that it does is that you're all in total, come on in, you're all in totally different, hi Agnes, nice to see you. You're all in totally different labs. And so that the actual processes within your labs, I don't train you on that. Labs do that, right? Like, so your research staff, your postdocs, supervisors, they're going to train you on what you need to know to work within your lab. My job is to help and support anything that we can do that's umbrella. anything that all of you kind of need to learn. So things like how to do a good literature search, how to write up a literature review, all of these sorts of things we do. So we centralize what we can centralize and then leave it up to the faculty to do what they need you to do. Because we run Sure not just in the summer when we run it, it's the most robust term of the program because we bring in the library and because they don't do a lot of events in the summer. So any events that they do are specifically for the Sure program. And campus career services on campus and all kinds of other things. But we do run it in the fall and we run it in the winter. Are there any of you, yes, I know you were there, anybody else part of Sure this past winter? Good, all new people, that's awesome. But we do run it in fall and we run it in winter. We have fewer events, but we have this huge and growing database of the recorded things that we've done. So if students are in Capstone or honors projects or experiential learning or in the first year research experience class, a lot of the things that we've recorded and posted are really, really helpful for students who are in those programs. And plus, of course, anyone doing summer research assistantship. So that's why we set it up this way. The one big thing that we try to do is enhance student connections. So we are planning, because we're back in person this summer, we are bringing back our secret USask tours. Yeah, I was like, yes. So we're bringing back our secret USask tours. So I work with, and I'll tell you guys about that in a bit. We're hoping to do some lab crawls. So any of you who are working in labs, I'll get to it in a bit, but we're gonna ask you guys to ask your supervisors if we can come and have a visit and do like a live Instagram or a live Twitter at your place of work. So we'll talk about some of those things. So I work for Research Acceleration and Strategic Initiatives. This is one of the divisions of the Office of the Vice President Research. So I run the program, but I don't do it alone. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Yeah, you think whatever you have is there. Come on in. See, look at this. First learning from Merle. I need a larger room. But yeah, I don't do it alone. I do not give all the presentations. The biggest partner is USask Library by far, but other partners include safety services. So if you have to take any lab training or women's training as part of your introduction to the lab, that the hours that you put into that can qualify towards your Sure credit. So make sure that you kind of keep an eye on that kind of thing. That's okay. It'll still qualify. If you look at that, you've got your research management 2 hours done. Career services, they come in and they do a whole bunch of events across the summer around professional development and like working with you on your resumes, working with you on cover letters, working with you on how to prepare for interviews, things like that. The Canadian Hub for Social and Applied Research, they're called Chaser here on campus, and they have a whole bunch of recorded videos. Maybe you are social scientists in particular. They have a whole bunch of recorded videos around things like NVivo or ArcGIS or survey strategies, things like that. SCIPR, the Saskatchewan Centre for Patient-Oriented Research, runs a program called BRIC. It's building intercultural resilience with Indigenous communities, and so that's one. So if any of you happen to be, or you're thinking forward and you think you're going to be doing some research work potentially with Indigenous communities, that's a good one. The Guatemala Center gives us lots of help and support as well as the College of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. They usually do a couple of sessions around how to apply to graduate school, these sorts of things. Research Excellence and Innovation came to us last year with a whole series of entrepreneurship modules. So if you're interested in business at all, or you're interested in how the university takes some of the things we discover here on campus and actually takes it into like it makes it into a business, or license it, intellectual property, these kinds of areas that you might be interested in, especially anybody who's going to be heading into civil work for Nutrien or any of those large businesses, figuring out how businesses use or manage their intellectual property. That's a cool session. And of course, the international office is is a really big supporter as well. So that's just, so I'll put an image of a spider there because that's kind of how I see myself. I am just a spider pulling in stuff from around the university. And we recruit you guys in lots of different ways. We do a social media blitz, of course. So we have a whole bunch of undergraduate research is very active on social media. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So you can find us and follow us there. We do pause announcements. We find lots of people that way. We always send out an email to past short students. So Agnes has probably been hearing me for the last couple of weeks saying, hey, sign up for the summer. Each college, or like I said, our unit will send me their list of how many students. Like the College of Ed Bio sent me a list of 10 students, all the students who are going to be taking summer research positions there. So, and that's how they kind of register their summer students. They send me those lists. So what does the training look like? It will continue to be hybrid because I'm pulling from so many different departments. Some of the people that I'm pulling from, either for personal reasons or whether they've got hybrid jobs and they're only on part-time. Some of the people who are going to be giving the presentations over the course of the summer, it might be remote. Others might be in person like this, but I'll still have an online component to them. So just be prepared for that. But the way that we set it up is that this is all about student choice. So, but we do guide to a certain extent. We have three kind of major areas. And sorry, this thought looks small, but communications, research skills, and professional skills. So those are sort of, think of them as the three baskets that we use to kind of help you define what you're going to do. And we ask that you do 2 hours in each of those three baskets. It's pretty easy to come up with that. You've got your 2 hours in research skills screening already, because that's where things like all your safety, lab safety, REMIS, all of that kind of stuff goes into research skills. Anything that you do around ethics or citations. So if you take any kind of library training around citations, that's considered research management because, and data management because it's research skills. We have next week, we have one of the most important sessions. I can't recommend it enough. It's on research data management. It's next Tuesday morning. It will be recorded, so if you can't make it on Tuesday morning, I understand, and I do record it, but even if you already have your 2 hours, I do recommend that you watch that one. It comes from Kevin Reed from the library, and it will give you an overview of how to manage all the data that you're going to generate this summer, and it really helps you to think through how to do a really good job of looking after what you find so that things don't get lost, and you're like, where did I put that, or what are my parameters, all of that sort of stuff. So it's really, really helpful. In terms of communications, most of the seminars in there come from the library. Of course, so it's how to do a literature search, how to analyze a literature review, how to write a literature review, how to create a research poster. We're going to be doing that one later in the summer. How to read a journal article. There's a whole bunch of communication stuff, research and writing. Some of them I do, and for those who don't know, I'm actually an author as well. So outside of I'm a 2-time Saskatchewan Book Award-winning author. So when I tell you that I know how to write, I actually have, words to back that up. But at the same time, I am an academic as well, so I try and help in some of those areas. And the last is professional skills. So things like EDI, which means equity, diversity, and inclusion. Sometimes we have guest speakers that will speak around that. Indigenous knowledge, so not next week, but the week after, there's a great session, one of the afternoons around Indigenous knowledge. Again, this just helps your entire professional development, because if any of you are going to be working in Saskatchewan when you're done, chances are you're going to be working for a company that needs to be working very closely with an Indigenous community. And so this will give you some heads up on that. Also, the University of Saskatchewan is really pushing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more about what those look like and how we're bringing them to bear here at the University of Saskatchewan, we have some sessions on that. And then, of course, like I said, USask Career Services brings us network and job hunting skills. And Research Excellence and Innovation has a whole series of webinars that are coming around entrepreneurship and how to build your own business, which is just kind of interesting because it's just, even if it's just driven by your curiosity, I'm totally fine with that. As long as you have 2 hours within each of those 3 areas, then what you would choose for your remaining 4 hours is entirely up to you. See, look at that. I've got a thing that reminds me to make sure that I say that. So yeah, so what we find is that students who are sort of doing their first research experience tend to take communication stuff around that literature review and how to do a poster and that kind of thing. And that's where they sort of push more of their energy. Other students who may have done this a summer or two, they may be sort of at the jumping off point and be more of that job hunting and skill and career services. So that's why we do it this way. That we try and give you a little bit of guidance, but some flexibility as well. This question comes up a lot, and it will be interesting this year to see how it goes. Both live and recorded ones both count. So if ever you sign up for a session and for whatever reason you can't make it, it will be recorded. You can watch it afterward. It counts the same. So as long as you watch it all the way through and actually learn something from it, that would be great. And also, there's lots of self-guided training as well. So we'll get to that in a second. So again, I've been through this, but here's some examples. The literature reviews, effective oral communication, that's a great one. We will have a symposium at the end of the summer. I'll talk about that in a minute. This is the one, research skills and management is the one that students have the most strong idea about what fits into that basket. And it's actually the largest basket because I cannot give you, because you're from all across the campus, I can't give you enough training options to satisfy everybody. It's just not possible. Because not all of them need to take ethics, for example. Generally, you need to be in social sciences and humanities to take ethics. However, if you take a course on citations from the library, that's ethics. How to cite other people properly, that's ethics. And so that's important for researchers. The research data management course that I mentioned, I can't stress that one enough. And that lab safety, COVID-19 safety, field safety, if you need to be getting that kind of training, that fits into this basket. And then the last thing is that if you have, depending on your project, if you have to learn something new that you haven't learned before, like Python or SPSS or survey design or MATLAB or whatever it is that you might have to learn lots of students have never really worked with Excel before. And so, if that's new to you, the time that you spend learning those, especially if you take any kind of specific training or training modules around that belongs under your research skills and management. So it looks like the smallest because I have the fewest number of live events that fit under research management, but it's the biggest basket. It's just that you guys get to choose what you put there. And then professional development and entrepreneurship. So we are going to be doing some sessions on networking, cover letters, resumes, interviews, Indigenous ways of knowing, and the UN SDGs, and then all that series of webinars that are coming from research excellence and innovation around building your own business. And you might not be looking to do that now, but those sessions are really interesting because it helps you to understand how the larger business community works, and how they get their funding, and how they operate in the world, and how they connect with the university, things like that. So you might find them quite interesting and helpful. So I wanted to pull that out a little bit because it's sort of split into two parts. There's a whole bunch of sessions around business basics. So business basics 101 and intellectual property and licensing. If I was going to suggest two for sure to watch, those would be ones that I would recommend. And then on Friday, starting on June 10th, they're going to support an entrepreneur speaker series, and they've got 4 different speakers lined up. And I'm pushing them to have pizza and stuff. So just letting you guys know that we're gonna see what we can do because they've got a little bit of funding. So we're gonna try and cash in on that so you guys can at least have pizzas on Friday, or something like that. One of the underused things that we have here at the university is LinkedIn Learning. So for those of you who don't know, LinkedIn is a social media platform for your professional life. And we're going to have a session on LinkedIn later on in the summer. But LinkedIn Learning, you can access it right through the library, and they have thousands of training things. So if you have to work with Excel, for example, and you know nothing, go to LinkedIn Learning. They have about 200 different courses on Excel, anything from like 20 minutes to, you know, an hour and 10 minutes, whatever. And then there's multiple of them. So if there's something specific within there that you want to learn, I guarantee you that you're going to find something in there. Or if you have to make a poster for the first time, and you're like, okay, what's an infographic? How can I make infographic? There's a whole bunch of stuff and training around that. So I want to make sure that people know that it's there, because if there's something specific that you need, you go to LinkedIn Learning and you found it, count that towards your summer SURE hours. Okay. Here's an example: Master Microsoft Excel. You know, there's different ones. This one's 24 hours. I don't have 24 hours to spend, but this is 2 hours and 17 minutes. That's not bad, you know, and you can even break it into smaller chunks. So that's just an example of things that are available on LinkedIn Learning. And that's the question that I get a lot: where do I find SURE sponsored or SURE accepted events? So in those emails, usually I send those emails on Monday mornings, so you know. I kind of give you an overview of what's coming up that week, and usually for the next couple of weeks to come, so that you guys can kind of fit it into your schedule. So you will get emails from me. I do put all of our sessions are open, so if you've got other colleagues, graduate students, you know, people in your lab who are also interested in coming to these trainings, they're perfectly welcome to do so, and they will sign up because I put them out on pause as well. We also, Undergraduate Research actually has a pause channel as well, so you can, when next time you're in pause, key in Undergraduate Research and just favorite, and then it'll show up in your pause every time you go in. And we also have, of course, my public-facing but always accessible website, SURE Student Undergraduate Research Experience. So I make sure that all of the links to register for all of the upcoming stuff is there. So I try and make sure that I capture you guys as much as possible. I also put things out on social media. Yes, off you go. It's good to see you. Not to worry. So all the USask library workshops in writing, research, and citations, including ones, past ones that they've recorded, those all count. They can count as well, and it doesn't matter if it's undergraduate or graduate. Now you'll see up here that the SURE program is actually highlighted there. So what I'm going to do, so what the library is going to do this summer is that all of the things that they offer are going to run through the SURE program. So there'll be, you know, registrations and all of that kind of stuff. And so they're just going to partner with us for the whole summer and send students here to the program. And same thing, if it was a library session that they offered, we'll say over the past year and recorded, you can find it on the library website under Get Workshop or Get Help and then Workshops. Or you can find it on our YouTube page. So this is our YouTube channel, Undergraduate Research Initiative. I think we're at 160 some subscribers. We're getting subscribers from all around North America because the SURE program is actually getting more and more picked up across other universities. They're starting to make programs like it and to support their summer students. So they're sending students to us if they haven't yet got around to making videos on these, because it doesn't matter if you're at Yale or if you're at USask, you're probably going to have to make a research poster at some point. So our sessions on that have been picked up by all kinds of other places. But I do recommend that you subscribe, just because then whenever I post something new, you get an announcement and it shows up. We do have the summer 2022 SURE schedule is mostly confirmed. What's not yet confirmed are things like the secret USask tours, but I'll give you guys a heads up on that. And a few of the more social events, other than the symposium date is set. It's August 25th. It will be hybrid, so we will be in person at Convocation Hall, as well as an online component. And a lot of you guys will find over the course of your summer. Usually I get about 75 out of the 300 students who tend to be part of SURE in the summer. Usually about 75 are supported by their labs to be part of the symposium and to showcase whatever you guys are going to do this summer. So, but in terms of all the things that are coming up, just go hop onto there, and it's on the pause channel as well. And I just copy and paste it across the two so that you can find it. And I'll send you guys those regular emails as well with all the links. That's where you'll find if I'm on pause and I see something like an event that someone else is putting on, and I'm like, oh, the SURE students would love that, I'll fire it into the email so you guys can register for that too. And yeah. So I use two programs quite extensively. One is EventBrite. So all of the things that I need you guys to register for, I use EventBrite so that I've got a list of who all has registered. And also the link, if it's an online event, then the link shows up in the EventBrite as well. Like it'll just pop right through. So you just click on EventBrite, there it is, and I put the link there. If you have to come in virtually. And I use MailChimp. I haven't started to use it yet because people are still signing up. But I use MailChimp, just a little bit cautious on that, though sometimes it can end up in your spam. So if you haven't heard from me by the end of the day on Monday, check your spam. Chances are it got spam. Move to the next, and then move us to your allowed list. The reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that I'm not overloading you, and B, it's a way for you to unsubscribe. If you get partway through the summer and you're overwhelmed and you're like, I can't handle another email from Merle, then you can unsubscribe. And that's fine. So secret USask is something that we started last year in the fall. And we did two tours. We did a tour of the heating and cooling plants on campus, and that's what this picture's from. This is Andy. He's the lead engineer at the heating and cooling plant. And we also did a tour of the physics building. So a lot of the areas like the physics shop, and then a few other spots, and then all the way up to the roof of the physics building where there's a bunch of telescopes. As if you didn't know that, it's pretty cool. Anyway, we are planning, so we are going to have another heating and cooling plant tour. I've already spoken with them. And so one of the ideas behind this is because there's a lot going on to actually do research on campus, right? Like there's to keep this building cool or warm or that kind of thing, or all the buildings on campus. That's why we went to the heating and cooling plant. Agnes is there. Agnes, any thoughts on how that was? Yeah, he was fantastic. So these are some of the ones that we've got them in planning, but once we have the dates set, we usually try and set them for Friday afternoons, if at all possible. So those ones you will probably have to ask your supervisor if you can slip away and go. Some of your supervisors might say, hey, can I come? I've seen that happen. I'm hoping to take you guys to the Canadian Light Source in person. They keep offering me virtual tours, and I'm like, nope, we would like an in-person. Again, the bug tour is actually the basement of bugs. They actually raise bugs that feed a whole bunch of animals across campus. Like, yeah, so we raise bugs in the basement of Thorvaldson. So I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it, so I'd like to see it. And then there's a lot of greenhouses. So these are some of the items. If you have other ideas, I'm trying to get the Deep Maker Center to give us a free ghost walks tour as well. So maybe that will happen. Anyway, if you have other ideas of places that you'd like to see on campus, let me know. I welcome social organizers. So SURE has had the Science Research and Society Club running for the past couple of years, but our lead organizer just finished her degree, so she's off campus now. What they generally do is that they organize guest speakers and then they host events, and some of them have been really amazing. The last one that we had, Science Research and Society, we had 75 people registered for a hybrid event in person and online. Yeah, so it was really, really good. I'm also wanting to do some lab crawls. So any of you who are in a lab, maybe an interesting or fun lab, and you'd be willing to host us to come and kind of do a little bit of a tour of your lab, that would be fantastic. And I'd like to do it so that we can visit maybe 2 or 3 labs over the course of a Friday afternoon. And so if you can ask your professor if such a thing, if they're willing to let. Usually we don't. Those are sign up only. Same with secret USask. Usually I can only handle about 6 per tour, or up to 12, but they're not like 55 people walking through the lab. So just so you know, and they are first come, first serve. And so, yeah, if you can ask your supervisors if they'd be willing to let us come and have a tour, let other undergraduate students come and tour through and learn what you do in your lab, that'd be great. Lots of student comments. These actually came from fall 2021, so these were comments that came in from students who had sort of that shorter fall term program, but getting 10 hours was easy, doing sure didn't feel like an obligation. The webinars I watched were all about stuff I was interested in learning about or that would benefit me in some way. And of course, I try and post everything on our YouTube channel. So if you do sign up for something and then can't come, then you can watch it afterward. Yeah, so, and this student actually applied for an Insert USRA and they won an Insert USRA, so they're doing research work this summer. So that does happen. And the faculty, we'll see how they do this summer, now that we're kind of back doing hybrid in person and online. The faculty supervisors loved it when we were online because there wasn't all that time to walk across campus and find the place and like do the thing and then walk back, and, and so they liked it. You guys logged in, did it, logged out, went back to work. All of that, squishy stuff, they were happy with the online component. So that's something to keep in mind. If your supervisor doesn't mind you being part of the SHIRT program or wants you to learn the stuff from the SHIRT program, but doesn't want you going to the in-person events because of the extra time commitment, that's something to maybe chat about with them and discuss. This is the next biggest question that I get, is who keeps track? You guys keep track. I will send you guys a page that you can just print it out and then just write on it. Every time you guys watch a video, attend one of these events, let us know. Just so you know, the social events don't really count. You have to actually, that's just the connector piece that we try and offer so that you guys have a more fun experience. But coming on a secret USask tour doesn't count towards your 10 hours. It has to actually be, so the training that you do, either on your own, like lab safety and WMIS or ethics or any of the training that we're going to offer throughout the summer, those count towards your 10 hours. The social stuff, not so much. Although there's a few exceptions. Every once in a while we get a superb guest speaker in who is actually talking about research stuff. So then we record them and then we post them for you. But what happens is that you guys keep your own list and then we send around a survey. Sort of, it'll be in late August, early September. We'll send you guys a survey link and you guys just fill out the survey. It's really quick and give us tell us which ones you attended. There's an open spot in case there's something that I forgot to capture on the survey and you guys have it written down because you went. And then I take all of that information and I upload it to the co-curricular record. So it will show up on your transcript. Agnes, you've been through the program before and you have it on your transcript. Yeah, you checked that, so that's good. So that's something that our office does. It isn't something that you can log into the co-curricular record and do on your own. We have to have that check to make sure that actually completed your 10 hours. Other questions that I get asked a lot is, if I don't get 10 hours, do I just lose that time? No, you can keep rolling forward. So you can join SHIR again in the fall. If you're just like 3 hours short, just fire in 3 more hours and then apply for your SHIR credit at the end of December. That's perfectly fine. You can carry it forward. I've had other students who get 10 hours easily every 4 months, and so they get 3 co-curricular or whatever, however many co-curricular. As long as you actually do it and qualify, then you can have it more than once. But yeah, you never lose your hours. It also doesn't matter if you just want to be part of it and you just want to do the social stuff and you don't want to do anything else. It's fine too. You won't necessarily get the co-curricular record, but you're still welcome to be part of SHIR and some other students. And I already talked about this. There are a lot of research management webinars. No, I don't do a lot of live webinars that fall into the research management category. That tends to be things that you guys can do on your own because I can't get down into the weeds. That's too discipline specific. Make sense? Okay. Yeah, so what else do? We try and create connections. We have had another student-led space that we've had in the past is a journal club. and we can potentially, you know, redo that if someone's interested in. And if you have to read articles and you want to learn how to read journal articles well and to present on them, we can restart a journal club. That's perfectly fine. I talked about the student club, Science Research Society. We do have a movie screening this summer. It's in June. We're going to be in arts, watching Picture a Scientist, which is a documentary on systemic trouble in academia. And yeah, so lab crawls, hybrid events, secret USask tours. These are some of the things, social things we're trying to make sure that we've got in place for the summer. The other thing that we are working on is a student supervisor agreement. And I might be looking for some student feedback on that agreement once we kind of get it into shape. And so yeah, just watch out for that as well. It's something that we're going to be asking students. It's not in place for this year, but going forward, we'd like to have it in place for next summer. Graduate students have a student supervisor agreement. We don't yet have one at USask for undergraduate students, but we want to create it as a way to protect all of you. Make sure that everybody has as good an experience in their summer research as we can help. Thank you. All right. Our capstone event at the end of summer is the Symposium. This year it will be August 25th, but again, it will be hybrid. So there will be an online component where we're going to ask you to create a bit of a PowerPoint about your research, about 5 minutes long, to give us that quick overview for anyone who can't be there in person on the day. But we are going to have an in-person event. Some of you will be in the morning, some of you will be in the afternoon, and it'll be at Convocation Hall. I wanted to showcase all the different ways you can find us. We're very busy on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, of course our YouTube page. We are on LinkedIn. We also have a podcast that we started last year in January. I think we've got about 17 podcasts that are there so far. Some of them are with students, some of them are with faculty, talking about, you know, not just the specifics of their whatever they research, you know, because I'm a historian, so you guys can lose me after the second sentence when you're really scientific. So, but talking about the experience of being an undergraduate researcher and what you learned by what kind of skills that you developed and how things went for you. So so if anybody's interested in being interviewed on the podcast, let me know, because I'm all ears. Yeah, we're also doing a lot of written stories about undergraduate students as well, and those are on our website. And we've had a lot of student profiles, including students who have since gone on to be interviewed by CPC, to go to the Future Now, which happened on Tuesday at the legislature in Regina. They were chosen to go down there. Others have won national awards in part because of the profile. So it looks really good on your resume to be profiled. And that's really about it. I will happily take any questions that you might have. Go ahead. Most of them, yes. There's a couple that are more workshoppy, like the Zotero one, and she would like to have that one in person, but I will record it as well, just like I'm doing this one. But most of the library ones, yes, will be online. You're welcome. Clear as mud, totally overwhelmed. just to reiterate, if you've got everything that you can handle, just do what you need to do in your lab, and you can't deal with any of that added stuff, sure, that's fine. It's totally fine. But if you're interested in connecting with other students, if your professor says, you got to take some of these because I need you to know how to look after your research data. I need you to know how to do a good literature search, you know, and write a proper literature review. I need you to know how to do a good poster. So if any of those are helpful, that's why we're here. And then if there's stuff that we're doing that you're just interested in over and beyond that, you're welcome to attend those too. And if you have suggestions of things that you think students might like, that's great. We do have one session this summer, I forgot to mention it, that's on photography for research purposes. And so we actually have a photographer coming in. She's worked with the Western College of Veterinary Medicine, teaching undergraduate students there, and she's coming to give a presentation for our show students. So if you have to take photographs for your summer research project, she'll help you take really good ones. That's coming up in June. Happy to take any more questions. Okay. Did I make it in time? 40 minutes. Lots of time. Okay. Any questions for you guys online? You can pop them in the chat and I will answer them. Jesse, Nicole, we can't hear you guys, sorry. So pop them into the chat if you have any questions. And I will stop the recording. In theory.